You kidnapped human children? Captain Vexer's voice, rough as grinding metal, resonated through the cramped corridors of his flagship, where shadows danced with the flicker of failing lights. His eyes, narrow and predatory, fixed on a small girl huddled against a cold, steel wall. The girl's trembling hands clutched a threadbare stuffed bear, her eyes wide with both terror and something akin to defiance. Please. I just want to go home," she whimpered, her voice barely audible over the roar of failing machinery. A deep, chilling laugh rumbled from the captain as he leaned in. "You humans always beg, always cower. You think your frail cries can move me? Tell me, where is your mother, little one?" Lisa Chen's voice, once quivering with fear, now held a strange, steady calm. She met his gaze unflinchingly. "She's already here." For a moment, silence reigned as a small red light blinked in her molar, a signal that had been set in motion long ago, a secret embedded during a time of despair and hope. The signal was the keystone of a plan meticulously crafted over 15 long years, a plan designed to trap those who believe themselves invincible. Deep beneath New Eden, in a command center carved out of ancient stone and reinforced with modern steel, screens illuminated the faces of resolute guardians. Colonel Chun, his eyes reflecting years of sacrifice and battle, stared intently at the holographic map that sprawled before him. Every hidden sensor, every dormant weapon, every secret passage in New Eden was coming to life. "They have been taken," he intoned into his comm link, his voice steady despite the urgency. "All units, execute Operation Cradle's Fury. Today, the day we prepared for, is at hand." Across the colony, ordinary lives shattered into orchestrated chaos. A farmer working his fields paused as the ground beneath him trembled. He knelt and pressed his calloused hand against a hidden panel in the furrows, triggering an ancient defense mechanism. In a modest chapel, a preacher, his voice barely rising above a whisper, slid open a secret compartment in the altar. There, a cache of weapons lay ready, artifacts of rebellion honed in secret over years of clandestine training. Even the children, who had grown up under the guise of ordinary lessons, now wore expressions of determined focus, their hearts steeled by a curriculum of survival. In orbit, cloaked warships, long hidden within asteroid belts, began their descent. Their engines roared to life, propelling them through the void with silent precision. Torpedoes, loaded with cutting-edge payloads, were primed and locked onto their unsuspecting targets. The stars themselves seemed to shudder with anticipation as the trap was sprung. On the pirate flagship, pandemonium erupted. A grizzled crew member staggered forward, eyes wild with panic as he struggled with a malfunctioning console. "Comms are down," he bellowed, his voice cracking under the strain of disbelief. From the opposite end of the hall, another pirate clutched the railing, shouting, "Engines offline. What in the hell is happening?" Amid the mounting chaos, Lisa stepped forward with unnerving composure. Her small fingers toyed with a seemingly innocuous piece of gum, a device of far greater import than its appearance suggested. "Took you long enough," she murmured, almost to herself. With deliberate precision, she unwrapped the gum and spat it onto a reinforced door. Almost instantly, a series of micro-explosions ignited along the lock, and with a resounding crash, the door was obliterated. One by one, the captive children surged forth, no longer cowering. Their eyes shone with the confidence of warriors who had been trained in secret, trained in a place where every game was a simulation, every puzzle a lesson in subterfuge. Their footsteps echoed in unison, a steady drumbeat heralding a revolution. In the midst of the chaos, Captain Vexer's fury grew palpable. "Impossible! How did this happen?" He roared from the bridge, his voice a mixture of rage and disbelief. "They're nothing but frightened kids." Suddenly, the bridge's hollow screen sputtered to life, revealing the calm, piercing gaze of a woman in crisp EDF uniform. Commander Rodriguez appeared as if conjured by the very force of destiny, her presence an unwavering counterpoint to the captain's fury. You made 3 fatal mistakes, she said evenly, her voice slicing through the tumult like a blade. First, you assumed our children were fragile. Second, you believed that abducting them would bring you unbridled profit without consequence. And third, you allowed them onto your ship, an act of pure, uncalculated arrogance. Captain Vexer's face contorted with fury. You dare lecture me? We are pirates. We own these stars. We rule the void. He spat, though his bravado faltered under the weight of his mounting losses. Rodriguez's image flickered on the screen, her eyes cold and unyielding. Ownership is an illusion when the tide of justice sweeps in. Your fleet is crippled. Your systems are overridden, and your fate has been sealed by your own hubris. Below deck, in the cramped corridors of the flagship, a young boy named Milo crouched behind a crate. His heart pounded in his ears as he whispered urgently into his wrist communicator. The decoy schools have activated. Our final lesson begins now. His voice, though soft, carried the resolve of one who had been forged in the crucible of adversity, a generation born from hardship, now poised to reclaim their destiny. Elsewhere on the ship, a burly pirate manned a control panel with trembling fingers. Security systems hacked. It's like they had our plans memorized, he muttered, slamming his fist into the console. Sparks flew, and each failing system became a testament to the meticulous planning of the children back in New Eden. Lisa advanced along the corridor with deliberate steps, her presence radiating the confidence of someone far beyond her years. I told you it wouldn't be that easy, she said softly, her eyes glinting with the determination of a seasoned warrior. Each step reminded her of the countless hours spent in secret training halls, where mentors taught her that every puzzle was a weapon and every game a rehearsal for this very moment. A flash of memory surged in her mind, her mentor's voice echoing in a hidden chamber beneath New Eden. Never underestimate the mind of one who has been forced to learn the hard way. Use your intellect as your shield and your sword. You may be small, but you are mighty. Those words have become her mantra, guiding her through the darkest hours and empowering her in the face of overwhelming odds. A sudden, piercing alarm shattered the momentary calm. Warning, life support critical. A robotic voice screeched from a nearby control panel. The previously unassuming piece of candy, offered by a desperate pirate in a moment of hesitation, proved to be no mere confection. Concealed within its sweet exterior were EMP microcharges, designed with ruthless precision to disable electronic circuits and sever the lifelines of those who dared to exploit innocence. One pirate, having unwrapped the candy, bit into it with greedy anticipation. His eyes widened in horror as the EMP surge rippled through his suit. What? What is this sorcery? He gasped, his voice a mix of shock and pain. The EMP's effect was instantaneous and brutal. Lights dimmed, controls malfunctioned, and one by one, the crew collapsed into a state of helpless stupor. In the command center, Commander Rodriguez continued her calculated onslaught. Initiate protocol. Final reckoning, she ordered, her eyes scanning the holographic display that now showcased the crippled pirate fleet in stunning detail. Every vessel is rigged. Once our countdown reaches 0, your entire fleet will self-destruct. You have moments left to surrender. But for those who had underestimated the indomitable spirit of New Eden's children, surrender was no longer an option. The pirate captain's voice, now tinged with desperation, echoed throughout the ship. This isn't over. We will rise again. His defiant proclamation was cut short by the violent shudder of the flagship as one of the internal reactors began a rapid, uncontrollable meltdown. On the battle-scarred deck, Lisa's voice rang out with unexpected authority. Everyone now, she commanded, her tone mixing youthful determination with the weight of destiny. It's time to reclaim our future. In perfect unison, the children who had once been held captive now surged forward as a single, unified force, each one embodying the silent fury of a people betrayed but unbowed. Outside, the vastness of space bore witness to the unfolding chaos. A flotilla of EDF warships emerged from the darkness, their sleek forms gliding silently through the void as they zeroed in on the remaining pirate vessels. The trap, laid with the precision of a master tactician over 15 arduous years, was now complete. Every component, from the hidden weapons in New Eden to the cloaked warships waiting in the shadows, functioned in harmonious synchrony to deliver a message that would reverberate throughout the galaxy. As the pirate flagship trembled under the relentless barrage of its own collapsing systems, Colonel Chin's recorded voice echoed across encrypted channels, resonating with the weight of a hard-fought victory. "We have always known that sacrifice sows the seeds of triumph," his words proclaimed. "Our children have embraced the mantle of responsibility and turned tragedy into strength. Today, the pirates pay for their arrogance." The scene was a tumultuous blend of chaos and order, a symphony of defiance and justice. Flames danced along the corridors of the doomed vessel as its once imposing structure crumbled into a cascade of sparks and twisted metal. EDF warships, emerging like silent predators from the cosmic shadows, locked onto the remaining pirate vessels with lethal precision. Each explosion, each shudder of the disintegrating ship, was a note in the final requiem of tyranny. In the midst of the carnage, Lisa's voice, now tempered by both resolve and sorrow for the lives lost, carried a message to every corner of the galaxy. "This is not merely a victory for New Eden," she declared, addressing an unseen audience whose collective breath seemed to hang in suspended anticipation. "This is a warning to all who dare to exploit the innocent. Our strength lies not in brute force, but in the unyielding spirit of our people, honed in hardship and tempered by hope." Her words resonated far beyond the confines of the doomed flagship. Social feeds exploded with the hashtag Cradle's Fury, and debates ignited in comment sections across countless worlds. The sight of children, once symbols of vulnerability, rising as champions of justice, sparked a firestorm of inspiration, uniting disparate voices in a chorus of defiance against oppression. On the bridge of the flagship, amidst the smoke and ruin, Captain Vexer staggered onto the command deck one final time. His eyes, burning with fury and disbelief, scanned the devastation wrought by his own overconfidence. "This isn't over," he hissed, though the tremor in his voice betrayed his uncertainty. "We will rise again. We will rebuild. Our legacy is not yet finished." But as the final explosive charge detonated, sending a shockwave through the vessel, his words were swallowed by the overwhelming roar of justice, a justice meticulously crafted and ruthlessly executed by those he had so arrogantly dismissed. The countdown reached its final seconds. In orbit, as EDF warships closed in like silent avengers, a blinding flash erupted from the heart of the pirate flagship. The ensuing explosion was both cataclysmic and symbolic, a brilliant, terrible light that signaled the end of one era and the birth of another. As silence descended over the void, the surviving children, no longer victims but victors, stood amid the debris of tyranny. Their eyes shone with the promise of a reclaimed future, a future where the weak would never again be underestimated. Their quiet defiance echoed across the stars, a testament to the power of ingenuity, unity, and the indomitable human spirit. A final transmission crackled across the EDF network, its message delivered in a voice that was both tender and fierce. "Let this day be remembered as the moment we reclaimed our destiny. We are the future. We are hope incarnate, and we will never be silenced." Lisa, now emerging as the symbol of this revolution, gazed out at the infinite expanse of space. The countless stars above twinkled like watchful sentinels, each one a silent witness to the triumph of courage over cruelty. With a small, resolute smile, she whispered, "Told you they'd fall for it." In the days that followed, survivors from New Eden gathered in hidden sanctuaries, their hearts still pounding from the adrenaline of battle and the bittersweet taste of victory. In hushed conversations beneath flickering lights, they recounted every harrowing moment, the spark that ignited rebellion, the secret lessons that had turned play into preparation, and the relentless determination that had transformed captured children into fearless warriors. In one dim, underground shelter, a group of young fighters clustered around a makeshift holoprojector. Remember when we activated the decoy schools? One of them asked, his voice low and awed. Every simulation, every coded lesson, it all led us here. A girl with determined eyes replied, "We weren't just learning to survive. We were learning to fight back, to outsmart our oppressors at every turn." Another chimed in, "Even the EMP candy, it was brilliant. Who would have thought something so small could bring down an entire crew?" Their voices mingled with laughter and tears, a bittersweet harmony of relief and resolve. High above in orbit, EDF commanders gathered in a secure briefing room. The mood was somber yet hopeful as they reviewed the tactical success that had unfolded. "The execution was flawless," one officer noted, "but we must prepare for retaliation. The pirates won't go down without a fight." The room buzzed with plans for fortification, for bolstering defenses and ensuring that New Eden's legacy of resistance would continue to inspire and protect. Back on the ground, Colonel Chun convened an emergency meeting with the colony's leaders. "Today, we witnessed the true power of unity," he declared, his voice resolute. "Our people, our children, have shown that even in our darkest hour, hope can turn the tide. Let us honor their sacrifice by ensuring that every resource is devoted to rebuilding and safeguarding our future." His words resonated with every face in the room, igniting a renewed commitment to defend their hard-won freedom. Amid the rebuilding efforts, Lisa found solace in quiet moments with her closest companions. On a clear night, beneath a canopy of starlight, she sat around a small campfire with Milo and several other young leaders. "We must never forget the lessons of today," Milo said softly, staring into the flames. "Every sacrifice, every risk we took, it's all part of the legacy we're creating." A gentle breeze carried the murmur of distant voices and the promise of tomorrow. One of the fighters, barely more than a child, looked up at the stars and asked, "Will we always have to fight?" The question hung in the cool night air as Lisa considered it carefully. "No," she replied, her voice filled with quiet determination. "Our fight is to create a world where our children don't have to live in fear. We must build a future where compassion and justice reign." Over the ensuing weeks, New Eden transformed into a beacon of hope and resilience. Stories of the uprising spread across galaxies, capturing the imagination of oppressed peoples everywhere. Digital broadcasts, interstellar news feeds, and underground networks carried the tale of the children who defied fate. Hashtags like hashtag Cradle's Fury and hashtag New Dawn trended on every platform, turning the revolution into a rallying cry for justice and empowerment. In a series of exclusive interviews broadcast live, survivors recounted their personal battles. A young fighter, eyes burning with both pride and lingering sorrow, told the world, "We were once just frightened children, but today we stand as guardians of our future." Every lesson, every hardship, it was all preparation for this moment. Their words resonated deeply with audiences across star systems, sparking movements and emboldening others to rise against oppression. Meanwhile, deep within the EDF Strategic Command Center, planners laid the groundwork for a new initiative, a commitment to not only defend, but also to educate and empower every community under their protection. "We must learn from our adversaries," one commander stated. "The ingenuity of our children has redefined the rules of engagement. Our mission now is to ensure that such brilliance is nurtured, not suppressed." As the reconstruction of New Eden advanced, schools reopened, not as institutions of mere academic learning, but as centers for strategic training and creative problem-solving. Children, once hidden in plain sight, now participated openly in lessons that combined art, science, and defense strategy. They learned not only how to wield technology, but also how to inspire hope and unity among their peers. In one such session, a teacher explained, "Every game you play, every puzzle you solve, is a rehearsal for real life. Today, we honor those lessons not as relics of a painful past, but as the building blocks of a brighter future. The classroom buzzed with enthusiasm, the echoes of determination filling the air with promise. As the narrative of resistance and rebirth spread, even former enemies began to question their path. Rumors of dissent within pirate ranks grew louder. In hidden quarters aboard isolated vessels, disgruntled pirates whispered among themselves about the devastating intelligence and unyielding spirit of the New Eden uprising. They were just children, one muttered bitterly, but they outsmarted us all. How can that be? Their confusion sowed the seeds of uncertainty, hinting at deeper fractures within the once mighty pirate alliance. Back on New Eden, Lisa's role evolved as naturally as the rising sun. No longer merely a symbol of youthful defiance, she became a leader, a voice of reason in the tumult of rebuilding. In heartfelt conversations with survivors, she spoke of the need for balance. We must never allow vengeance to consume us. Our victory today is a reminder that justice and compassion are our greatest strengths. Let us build a world where fear is replaced by trust and cruelty by understanding. Every night, as the colony gathered to share stories around communal fires, the legacy of the uprising was recounted in vivid detail. The tale of the EMP candy, the secret lessons, the fearless march of children. It became a legend, a narrative that inspired future generations to believe in the impossible. With every retelling, the fire of resistance blazed brighter, transforming past pain into a beacon of hope for the future. In the quiet moments of reflection that followed each day's hard work, Lisa would gaze up at the star-filled sky and murmur, "Told you they'd fall for it." Those words, carried on the cosmic wind, served as a gentle reminder of the extraordinary power of ingenuity, resilience, and unity. They became a mantra, a promise that no matter how dark the night, the light of hope would always guide them forward. And so, as the EDF broadcast continued to ripple through the farthest reaches of space, proclaiming the dawn of a new era, the universe bore witness to a revolution that transcended mere conflict. It was a revolution of hearts and minds, a movement driven by the unyielding spirit of those who refuse to be silenced by oppression. A movement that, in its quiet persistence, promised that every child, every voice, would one day shine as brightly as the stars overhead. In that relentless surge of hope and determination, the survivors of New Eden found not only solace in their shared past, but also an unshakable resolve to forge a future defined by justice, empathy, and collective strength. Their journey had only just begun, and as they stepped boldly into the unknown, they carried with them the promise of a better tomorrow, a tomorrow where every act of defiance paved the way for endless possibility, and where every whispered hope became a resounding call for peace and unity. "Told you they'd fall for it," Lisa repeated softly, her voice merging with the endless hum of the cosmos. And in that moment, the galaxy listened, inspired by the echo of a revolution that would forever change the course of destiny.